In today's video, we're going to talk about my most anticipated Marvel movie of next year, which is the Marvel's Thunderbolts. Why? Because it's basically the Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad movie, and it looks absolutely freaking insane, and there's multiple characters in it. It looks so cool. So recently, we had a new trailer, stroke teaser at D23 Brazil. A little bit surprised because we've already had a main trailer, but I guess the movie does come out in May. They've done a recent test screening again, and the results turned out to be pretty positive. And we've got a bunch of details that have come out from this test screening, and also some other details to go out regarding this movie. So, yo, what is freaking good, YouTube? Wish you ever new around here. Make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the Marvel, DC, Kaiju, Monsterverse, pop culture-based content that I try to deliver on a daily basis. Could subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, and let me know how freaking hyped are you to see Marvel's version of Superman, which is Sentry, although some people go, no, it's Hyperion. I believe it's Sentry. He's going to look badass when they finally reveal the suit, but they haven't done that yet. Also, if you want to see the beautiful face behind the B voice, check us out on Instagram. Although I will be coming back on camera more often on this channel, like I used to. Also, check us out on Twitter, Warstu, and also check us out on TikTok, which is Warstu, because someone freaking robbed the Warstu handle. So, the latest test screening was very positive, according to the internet. Also, David Harper, who played the Red Guardian, also said the same thing. So there's only minor details coming out from this test screening, but it does tell us a lot. So this is coming from a very reliable source, The Geeky Cast on Twitter. Also check him out on TikTok. Does pretty cool stuff over there. Also check him out on YouTube. Basically, check him out everywhere. The Geeky Cast. So we had this to say. The latest test screening of Thunderbolts has been very positive, which is cool because this looks like a badass movie. As most people expected, it says Yelena Belov is the main character. Most people assume that. Sentry has a comic book accurate suit, but with some differences. He went on to say Sentry's difference is his belt. The S isn't huge. It's a buckle. He also has a variation to his boots. Semantics. So it goes on. The film begins with Yelena on a mission. There are scenes set in the Red Room. Ghost has one of the best action sequences of the film. Like we said in a previous video, Sentry becomes the Void, but we didn't say in the third act, but we have covered this before, that Sentry will have something to do with the Void. Didn't know Sentry becomes the Void. And it says this: the film has a similar tone to those of Captain America, the Winter Soldier. And that's a pretty darn strong comparison, seeing as that is one of best Marvel's action movies, in my opinion. The action sequences are amazing. Now, as I said, obviously everyone can get information wrong, but the Geeky Cast is quite reliable. So if you go through the comments, someone said this: can you confirm Sentry will be on Superman's level in the Thunderbolts? Geeky responded, not sure what you're asking when Sentry is stronger. The Geeky knows his stuff, so it's interesting. And also there was someone saying this, but it's also hard to tell if that source actually said it. Sentry will be Superman level stronger in the Thunderbolts via Daniel Della RPK. Not really sure who said that. Then the Geek Cast said, defo not, it's the MCU. I don't really know why people are trying to compare him to Superman. I just call him Marvel's version of Superman so you can kind of get a comparison of what he might be like. So there's also some other things that we want to go over. So the Geeky Cast also said this, well, yesterday. Bob as in Sentry is on Val's side. He refuses to kill the Thunderbolts. He has high morals in the film. The Thunderbolts help Bob defeat his evil persona. Val drugs him so he doesn't remember anything. Bob doesn't know much beside his name. And to be fair, if you look at all the trailers, he does kind of look confused. He really does. Val puts everyone against each other in the vault. She has a backup plan too. If they don't fight each other, we've seen them fight each other in the trailer. Pretty damn cool. Which we see the vault lock down and blow up. Sentry fights the Thunderbolts on top of the Avengers tower after he defeats the team as the new Avengers. Now, this isn't Geeky Cast saying, yo, he's got spoilers, yo, he's right. He's just saying what he's heard, which is interesting. And I also find it funny when you read the comments. Someone says, Brody, it was the Fantastic Four. Now, the Thunderbolts. You're spoiling all of these movies for me. I find comments like that funny because if you're part of the Marvel Twitter X community, spoilers are absolutely everywhere. And as I've said before, you never know what is true until the movie comes out. Could be baloney, could be BS, could be total smack. You never know. But from what I understand, I think this movie should be everyone's most anticipated movie for the next year because it looks pretty damn badass. And the fact basically nearly kind of had confirmation that yes, the Sentinel becomes the Void, meaning, you know, the Sentry. That's pretty damn badass. Because if we also go back to some other information about this movie, it kind of corresponds to what the Geekycast said. Although it doesn't confirm it, they're on the same kind of wavelength of what is actually said. So someone else said this. Thunderbolts ends with the Thunderbolts becoming the Dark Avengers. The Geekycast insinuated that the movie ends with them becoming the New Avengers. And it also says here, the Sentry is depowered and memory wiped at his request, but there is an implication he might still remember who he is. But if you look over to what Geekycast said, Bob doesn't know much beside his name, which could imply he's drugged. It literally says Val drugs him, so he doesn't remember anything, which is the same thing here as saying that Sentry is memory wiped at his own request. Different variation of basically the same thing. I'm not saying either has the same source, but they're saying very similar things. So it does seem like the Dark Avengers are going to become the New Avengers. And because of how powerful the Sentry is, if he loses or is depowered or memory wiped at the end of the movie, if this is true, they're going to have to use Sentry again. Why? Because he's so freaking OP. Going to be very interesting to see what actually happens with this movie. Because like I said, it's slowly becoming my most anticipated movie of the year, being 2025. Why? Because the Suicide Squad movie was so cool, and I hate to compare it. This is Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad, if you want to say that. And the Suicide Squad movie, the original one, although we never got that, the David Ayer cut, you know, the original one, not the James Gunn. Although the James Gunn one was fine, the David Ayer version was much better. But it's just a fun, cool movie with a bunch of people going at each other. It just looks pretty darn cool. So the test screening was very positive. I've not really seen anything negative about this movie anywhere. Obviously, before I make these videos, I find as much information as I can before I start talking about it. But it basically does confirm how the movie ends and the whole Void stuff. Also, whilst doing some research, I've not spoke to the Geekycast. It says the Thunderbolts will not feature Songbird via the Geekycast. Like I say, you never actually know what is true when it comes to this kind of stuff because you don't know if they are saying that when it's a subquote from someone else. Also worth saying, the Geekycast did tweet, Songbird is not in the Thunderbolts, which, I mean, it's sad, but at some point, I guess more characters will appear. And now we know that Val bought the Avengers Towers because there's a line in this new tease trailer that was shown at D23, where she says, yo, this wasn't cheap. I'm paraphrasing. I've not actually got the trailer in front of me. Yo, this tower wasn't cheap. So they wanted you to know, the audience, that Val did indeed buy the Avengers Tower. So the mystery is over. It wasn't Reed Richards. It wasn't Doctor Doom. Kind of sad that it wasn't Doctor Doom or anything like this. And there's also some information going back a few days now. David Harper says the asterisk in the Thunderbolts is a correction asterisk. Like when you misspell a word, then someone replies with the correct spelling with the asterisk. Things may not be what they seem to be. Basically, the asterisk is getting at the Dark Avengers and New Avengers will be set up in this movie. If you remember a while back, Kevin Feige said by the end of the movie, it will be revealed after the movie comes out, essentially. It's also pretty much not really a spoiler or anything, but it is perceived by a lot of people that Taskmaster is going to die very early on in this movie because of reasons, because she's hardly in the trailer, to the point where some people seem to think that she's been edited into some of the shots in the trailer. I mean, Marvel's done that before with the whole Spider-Man No Way Home movie, so potentially that could be the case. But it just looks like a fun, cool movie. It looks a lot better than Captain America 4, if you ask me. I can't say it looks better than the Fantastic Four movie. Why? Because we haven't officially seen anything. But the Fantastic Four movie is completely different. That's a multiversal movie. Although this could have multiversal effects at the end of the, like setting up the Dark Avengers or the New Avengers, which would have a knock-on effect of other movies going forward. I don't think this movie is going to have much of effect on the greater MCU, at least from a multiversal standpoint. But it's so freaking cool. Test screening basically reveals a lot of information, basically reveals how the movie's going to end. The Void being involved with the Sentry is pretty darn cool. So like always, guys, check us out on Instagram at Warstu to see the beautiful face, one the voice. Check us out on Twitter, WarstuG. And I will catch you in another video very soon. Catch you later.